Hey everybody, back for another great day of chess. It's been a great week for chess in general. We have the Sinquefield Cup in St. Louis, where a lot of the top players are playing, like Fabiano, Wesley So, um, and others. So pretty excited for today. We have a really strong K-12 section. I think one of our strongest yet. So really excited to see the games. The K-12 section is also really small, so we're definitely going to get uh, the top players facing each other really soon. So all I see are the players' Lichess ratings. I'm not sure what the actual ratings are, though I know they're really strong. So let's see. So okay, I think only Oddvate I've heard of before, or maybe not. So these players are all kind of new to me, but regardless. All right, let's see what we got. Looks like King's Indian. All right, yeah. So King's Indian is when against d4. Black replies d6, well, the pawns are on d6, g6. You have the bishop on g7, the fianchettoed bishop, attacking the center this way, and black castles. I think this is a really tough system for both players. I mean, all the top players have played the King's Indian as black, usually at one point. Several of them are specialists in it, like Hikaru Nakamura. Um, it's really tough though. I think if black's kingside attack doesn't really work out, then they can just kind of get steamrolled on the queen side. When you're letting white have the center and black is um, planning to strike back at some point, I think generally. Maybe c5 will come in the mix, though. Also e5, and black will try to eventually push the f pawn as well, get a kingside attack going. So this is what happened. I don't know the theory of this too much. I think there's a lot of moves here. I think this is one of the main lines, but I'm not entirely sure. D5 or E5, D5. So white gains some more space, though they partially cede this square, C5, and they let black keep this pawn here on E5. Yeah, so eventually this knight is going to have to move to prepare to play F5. All right, so things are pretty much happening pretty quickly. So yeah, I mean, here's where we're at. So you can see white, well, we can start from this pawn. White is a space advantage on the queen side. Their pawns are facing that way. So white's going to start to expand. Boom, boom. And black is going to try to make things work on the king side. Usually g5 even comes in just to try to open up the g file and open up lines for the pieces. Yeah, I mean, really strong system, tough system. Um, for more beginning players, I definitely wouldn't recommend this just because it's too complicated. Instead, I just like d5 and, against like c4, just Queen's Gambit declined. Maybe even c5, which is the Tarrasch defense. Right there on the side. But, for the level that these players are at, if the King's Indian defense is something you like, then definitely go for it. So Tarrasch, though, is I mean, not necessarily simpler even, but just the ideas are a little more straightforward. And I'll put, so what we have here is the King's Indian defense. Cool. So this game, yeah, looks set up for a really good battle. Notice the players haven't even used much time, probably because they're both familiar with the ideas. So it's definitely a system you have to know if you play d4 as white. Okay. All right, well, black's just up a piece here, so not much to really see. Oh, do we have another King's Indian? Wow. I don't know. I mean, just because a lot of top players play it doesn't necessarily mean us normal people should play it. A lot of the times, like, kind of opening choices are just dictated by fashion or what the top players are doing, and doesn't necessarily mean they're the best openings. So I don't know, maybe this played a part in why so many people are playing this now. But if you like it, like I said, you should do it. Yeah. Well, I'm not really sure. Bishop g5 doesn't look like the main move. I think just e4, bishop e3 makes a little more sense. Instead of just giving up your bishop like that, you're just letting black have this dark square bishop unopposed for free. So I don't think that was a good idea. Yes. So now in this game, instead of e5, we see c5. Makes a lot of sense. Attacking the center and opening up this bishop. Because at some point, I mean, you have to hit back at white center. You can't just let the pawn sit there. Yeah, I mean, this looks just... Oh, he just dropped the piece. Doesn't say how much time he took. All right, so that's that. Yeah, so whenever I look at a new position, I always do a quick count of the material. Though I guess sort of cheating because the lead chest does it for you, but anyway, just out of a habit. Looks like material's even. But immediately what sticks out is the white king just stuck in the middle, can't castle, and it's on an open file with open files on an adjacent side. So this looks completely winning for black. And I don't really see much counterplay. They're not completely winning, but definitely much better for black. So c4, f5. What is happening today? All right, so yeah, so generally d4, f5. This is the Dutch defense. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could call it still one of the main ways to meet d4. And then usually white follows up c4. So it kind of just transposes to this. The idea is you're getting some control over the middle. However, you are somewhat weakening your king. So here we just... Yeah, there's a few ways this can go. I can't remember really the names. I mean, there's also e6, there's g6. Well, not together. You should pick one. Because if you play both of these together, you're really weakening your dark squares. So don't do that. And I guess there's also b6. So we see black really setting up a target on e4, trying to fight for control over that square. Yeah, I mean, I'm just really not familiar with this opening, but that doesn't really look correct. Yeah, I would have thought just go bishop e7 castle, but seems weird to double your d pawns, but maybe it's okay. Oh, and then you just have to... Okay, so tactically it's just not that good. I guess black could have gone here to defend the d pawn. The problem is you can't go there, fork. So all right, black just castles. I guess black is like, I'm down a pawn, but I'm also a little bit ahead in development. Yeah, no, see, yeah. So white needs to just go here and get castled. C5, kind of waste some time. Ooh, and then, okay, I was like wondering how the king ended up in the center. So that's, oh, it was actually facilitated by C5 because after the pawn takes, you open this diagonal. Yeah, so C5 was the big mistake. And now things really, yeah, they're kind of unwinding for white. All right, well, we've seen two kind of unexpected defenses against d4. We saw two King's Indians, and we just saw the Dutch. Well, if people are looking for another system against d4, definitely recommend, like I said, the Tarrasch defense. I think I spelled simpler right, but it's fine. So we'll keep an eye on that game. This game, players are moving really quickly. Assume it was over. Okay, looks like black just won kind of quick. All right, I have an e4. So this is the French defense, e6, d5. Great system, a lot of players play it. Yeah, I guess we're still in the French. Yeah, so I guess you can go c4. It doesn't look correct though. It seems better to maintain some tension in the middle. I mean, you can always go c4 later. And if they take, they're probably worried about this pawn. Well, just go knight f6, or even just take it. Yeah, I don't think that solution is quite the best. Yeah, now white goes e5. And these pawns are pretty solid. It's going to be hard to get them out of the middle. Well, let's see what happens. So. H4. White's trying to start an attack. I don't really see it happening though. I mean, the queen and the bishop aren't really well placed to like attack h7, so h5 a little more like wishful thinking. Okay, but h6 I think is a big mistake because now you give white a target to focus on. It's best to leave these three pawns in their starting squares because then it's going to take white longer to get the pawns down and start attacking your pawns. As soon as you put a pawn here, all white's got to do is go g4, g5. And this looks really dangerous for black because suddenly, well, let's see exactly what happens. So takes. Yeah, b4, I don't understand at all. I think if white just continued the march with g5, if black takes, then you're giving the open file here. And if black pushes, well, then that pawn becomes a target. You might even be able to go g6. And if takes, you still get this g file open. Yeah, white can just quickly castle queen side, switch the king over there, bring the rook in, and yeah, white has something going. And I mean, it's kind of a risk-free attack because the center is locked, and I don't see much counterplay, especially this bishop is just really bad piece locked in. It's almost like white's playing with an extra guy. Yeah, b4 is, I'm just completely befuddled. b5. Yeah, why doesn't white just continue with their attack? So they reroute the bishop, but it's still blocked. Maybe they were trying to castle? Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, now a pawn just gets dropped. And probably black's okay because white's now used so much time. Or what did I say? Black's okay because white's used so much time. Oh, it's a juicy square for the knight there. There's no clear way for black to quite break through though. Yeah, they get to this weird endgame. Black's still up a pawn. I'm guessing he goes, yeah, b4, because now you give the bishop some diagonals to work with. And unfortunately, now these pawns are just targets. So yeah, black definitely much better and should win. Yeah, white goes for tactics, but it's just nothing there. Or I can't even say tactics, like it's kind of a desperate sacrifice. Okay. All right, but yeah, good game. So really this was the tightest game. Well, we actually just look at this position, you see black is trying to get stuff going, but yeah, this is just, I feel like I've just seen this so many times in the King's Indian where if you don't get that attack perfect, then white just comes down on you like a hammer on the queen side. And white's attack or white's queen side play is pretty basic. They just push the pawn and boom. Whereas black's attack it just always seems tricky because, you got a lot of pieces in the way, you got all these pawns. So that's part of my reservation about recommending the King's Indian defense. Okay. I guess black just missed the discovered attack. Yeah, all right. So now white's just totally winning. Yeah. Even at this level, this high level, a lot of these guys are at the 1900s to 2000, still just comes down to tactics. I mean, black played this move really quickly. I mean, I think you can, yeah, actually black's already really unhappy. Even if you go there, there's now this. That's just, yeah. Oops. How do we go there? Okay. Was this the game with the king in the middle? Wait. Oh, black was just double piece. Yeah, this game looks like not really much has changed. There. Oh, nice. This was a cool tactic. Giving up the knight, but now you have double threat of here and here. Yeah, I mean, at least king is slightly safer. You do have a bishop for the rook because black had given up the piece to get the rook. So still much better for black, but the game does continue. Definitely will say, even for you guys should take your time. I mean, the games are basically over and it's been 20 minutes. So, you want to treat this still as like a real tournament game. I mean, it is a real tournament game, but like, even though it's not in person, still want to treat it just the same way you treat an in-person game, as practice. All right, we can check out the other section. So everybody else essentially. Okay, cool. Oh, good to see Jude back. Llama Kadabra back. All right. Check out the games in a second. Just want to see who's playing. All right, looks like Will's still in his game. Cool. So 5 games left. Oh, okay, I guess. Yeah, Will, you really had to work for this win. All right, the guy never showed up. Okay, unfortunate. Looks like Buddy Ram is up a piece. Okay, this game blocks up a pawn. Yeah, this is a good one. So kings are castled on opposite sides of the board, which means both sides can push their pawns and try to attack the king. And it looks like that's kind of what both sides are trying to do. Got a pawn here that could push, pawn here that could push. Yeah, white. Oof, yeah, this was a really bad square for the rook. Sure, it had a reason for going there, but blocked behind not one, but 2 pawns. So yeah, much better place, open file. And this looks pretty close to equal or so. Yeah, this bishop queen thing looks really weird because they're not really like aimed at anything, but they're doing a good job stopping the pawn. I mean, black could push the pawn, but then you got to contend with these guys on the diagonal. So never really seen a battery like that. That's, I guess, purely for defense. Wow, this queen's super irritating. She has her eyes on like all these targets. I mean, they're all protected now, but they're making it so black can't easily move. You know, black moves the rook. This could potentially fall. Black does, though, have an extra pawn. And, I mean, there's no real threats at the moment. So, okay, that's that game. We have Jerry and Tar on chess. Materials equal. So, yeah, just kind of, especially when looking at like games in scholastic tournaments, after looking at the material, I always check out the kings, you know, whose king looks safer. Yeah, I mean, without an H pawn, white's H pawn can kind of march and create some threats around the king. So it looks like white's king is a little safer than black's. Looking at the middle or the center, I mean, black has great control of the center. Beautiful, beautiful. And knight's very good too. Yeah, definitely rook d5 I was looking at to ask the queen what she's going to do. So yeah, I mean, just looks about equal. White's pieces are pretty good too. Probably wanted, yeah. White moves back. Yeah, I mean, this is hanging. I think you can take it. Yeah, so we'll see. Other games looks like Awesome Train is up material. So yeah, it's really like the Win Buddy game and the Tar on chess game. Take a quick look back at this section, but it looked pretty much over. Well, I guess, yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. Keeping themselves in it. So white is like what often happens. White has dominated the queen side. Um, they did win a piece from earlier, so that really should seal the deal if If they weren't up a piece, if it was even material, then this would be, yeah, really interesting game. But I just think the extra piece is too much. Black. Oh. Yeah, I don't think black, this ever should have been able to happen. So this happened. Work. Oh, the knight moved away. Yeah, maybe it would have been better. Just the knight's kind of nice to keep an eye on these pawns. Maybe go knight here now. Just bring the other knight in to help. But okay. I mean, it can't be bad. So G4 does get in. Rook A7. So at least black has managed to open the file, but it might just be too late. I don't know, maybe I'm just like want too much control and I don't even want to give black a chance for any counterplay, but maybe this is just white's totally okay and they're just going to win with their extra piece. Then the other one, that's the one where black's up the exchange. You had the weak king. Yeah, I mean, not much has really changed. Still think black should win. So we'll go to one of the even games here. Ooh. Yeah, so the file did open. Okay, so black went after the center pawn. Yeah, B5 made a lot of sense. Maybe black should have just brought the knight back, and then if pawn takes pawn, you can take with the knight. Yeah, I don't think the sacks do much. Queen's actually nice here because she's right in the middle. Yeah, this seemed a little unnecessary. Oh, and then there's this maneuver. Yeah, definitely not what black wants for sure. The black does have the 4 pawns for the piece they're about to lose, so let's see what happens. But definitely, I'm going to take white for this one. Oh, that's just painful. Yeah, sorry, white, but no excuse for that one. You know, we all make blunders, but when you play a move that fast, blunders are going to happen. Yeah, too bad, because that was a pretty interesting game. All right, good game, guys. Now on to this one. Black's. Oh, he did. So black's up a pawn, or no, 2 pawns. All right, so black's definitely made progress here. Because, yeah, I was worried about this pawn marching down, but it looks like it is still on h4. And I just heard Will's opponent showed up. So, all right, I guess he really likes blitz. Maybe that was a strategy. Oh, we have another kind of King's Indian in a really weird play. Oh God. So this, yeah. So well, hey, what are you gonna do? Yeah. So the knight doesn't want to move because then queen takes f7. So this just looked like a disaster for black. Yeah. Take a look at that opening. So instead of bishop g4, I would just go like knight f6, get castled. All right, so I'm assuming Will's gonna win this one, barring some crazy disaster. But definitely, Will still take your time. Remember, he has to move fast. That's his disadvantage, but you don't. And nothing worse than a really long think from your opponent, because then you're like, okay, I gotta, take my time here. They've been thinking for like 20 minutes. They must have something cooked up. But black doesn't have time for that. But hey, thanks Uber Whale 531. For showing up, for being able to come anyway. To make sure everybody has a game. Yeah, this This passed pawn just looks too strong, so black should win this one. All right, so are there any equal games? So Will's up a piece. Wait, what? Oh yeah, that was a game from before. I mean, is there any defense for white? Probably not. I say probably. I mean, have to think about it some more. So don't take that as gospel. But it's looking bad. Yep. White still up a piece. Yeah, I mean, I guess who's this one? Whose turn is it? White's turn. Yeah, it looks pretty bad still, but maybe the most equal game happening right now. All right, let's see. So white to move. So whenever it's your move, a well-established thinking process goes like this. First, you come up with a list of candidate moves or possible moves, maybe 3 or 4. You know, that way you don't jump right into analyzing the first move that pops out. I mean, it might be good, it might not be good, but there could just be a better move you're missing. And then you always ask yourself, why did my opponent make the move they just made? You know, why did black go there? And then you just start analyzing the moves. There's no real rule for how deep to analyze. It just depends on the position. But until you feel like you can reach a judgment, then that's when you stop. And I'm reading a really interesting book, The Art of Sacrifice by Spielman. Spielman, one of the great players from like the early 1900s or so. Yeah, he says, you know, even when you make a sacrifice, you don't have to calculate it all the way to the end. If you know, you can just make a judgment. If you feel like you have enough of an attack to justify the sacrifice or enough compensation, you should go for it. So white has decided to check. Yeah, I mean, maybe would have tried to keep this fork alive. I mean, at first it looked like this check is good, but the problem is you don't have time to take because your queen is hanging. So, and if you trade, then the rook goes to a safer square on c3. There's no more fork. So I don't know, maybe white could have just moved the queen and then kind of hoped black didn't see that coming, but maybe objectively just the check is better. And now it's white's move. They'll get another chance to move. Yeah, I mean, definitely want to move the king to the corner. It's going to be safer there. Then if you had moved to f8, then it's on open file, which can be dangerous. Yeah, but you know, a lot of top players, I mean, they're not analyzing 20 moves deep each move. Really the strength just lies in their judgment of the position. You know, what the plan should be. Especially if you look at like the old games of like Capablanca, the third world champion, and you look at his notes. I mean, he's not giving hardly any variations. He's just kind of explaining his rationale for each move. And it turns out to be the best move. All right, white grabbed that pawn. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can't grab this guy because that opens the file to your king. I don't know. It's getting kind of interesting. I don't think black should have let this happen. Should we go back and find an improvement? How the so black had a nice tactic. I mean, yeah, maybe a5 was a little slow. e5 also kind of slow, because then you are kind of opening the king. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to criticize. I mean, maybe just get this guy back here, stop the nonsense, and then boom, something like that. So maybe check out move 26 instead of e5. Just bring the rook back to d8, go to c8. Okay, so check happened. Maybe I'm just being too optimistic and black's just winning. But, important part of chess is denying your opponent any counterplay. Even if you're still going to win 9 times out of 10, there's still always that one chance your opponent's going to get you in some kind of counter strike. Yeah, now the rook comes back. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, black should be pretty happy. All right, let's do a quick look around, see if anything has really changed. Nope. Okay, what are we doing? Silly. All right, we'll go back to this game. This is like the most even one to me. I think the other game, somebody's just clearly up material. So this is the one that started when white left their king in the middle too long, and it got checked and had to go to d1 and remain in the center. It is still not happy. Okay, a5 is played. Or what did I say? A4. All right, so black is probably asking, why did they play this move? Well, got a pass pawn, so I guess it's just going to keep going down the board. And then black is looking at their different candidate moves. A lot of definitely tempting moves here because there's so many open files to work on. Then you have the pawn situation. What are you going to do? All right, yeah. So I mean, I think black could have done this on the previous move, and it definitely looks the best. You know what's kind of nice now? I mean, yeah, rook is forced. I thought black would just go for the trade, but now you can't because the pawn is there. So earlier black could have gone here, forcing a trade of queens. But yeah. Actually, that might not be so easy to win though. 2 works against rook and bishop. But anyway, yeah, queen c4 check looks good. The attack may end up just winning. Let's see. White still has some threats as well. All right, so black decides on queen c2 check, forcing move. Rook e2. Yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily forced, but. Queen c5, yep. I think that was my top move at the moment as well. And that king just never really got safe. I don't think it's over though. I mean, like I said, white still has some ideas. But I think black's winning. Actually, what is the material? Yeah, so it's rook and or it's bishop and pawn for rook. All right. Well, again, a lot of tempting moves. So, don't just go with the first move you see. Make that list of 3 or 4 candidate moves and then start looking. So you have your list. You start with the one that looks most promising. And then try to figure out what white's best move is. And then make a judgment at the end of the line. Yeah, rook f8. Now that's a cool move because there was so many tempting checks. I guess this is a check and all these checks and stuff. But I mean, this rook was a problem because it was under attack. So now it's moved, it's safe. It's on the same file as the king. And it's not like a forcing move. It's not like a check or capture. So in some ways, it's kind of harder for white to figure out what to do. Because if it's like a check, you gotta save the king. If it's a capture, you gotta just capture back. But if it's a move like that, you're not sure. So if you have an opponent who's like in time trouble, often it's good to make a move that doesn't really seem to do much because it can kind of like confuse them and make it harder for them to find a move. Oh man, so the king goes to g4. White's not afraid. Yeah, I was thinking about this, like, well, maybe the king can kind of be okay here. Well, maybe that's also just some silliness. Yeah, as soon as pawn takes pawn, that king is never going to be safe. I don't know. Is this there's like no one watching this game? Someone watching? Are they watching like a different game? Oh, wait, what? Yeah. Uh, Closer than it should have been, but I think White's just winning. Okay, so pawn takes pawn. Now h5 is played. That also gives Black's king some room. Take a quick look at. Oh, the game finished. Oh, the black just resigned. Okay, yeah, B7, and you just rook A8, and you just can't stop the pawns. All right, what about the other section? Oh, they started the second game. Okay. Nice. Will's playing a do 7-1-1. Should be a really good game. Well, let's just watch the conclusion of this one. I mean, I just feel like it's going to be over pretty quickly. Then we can take a look at the openings in the other section. Yeah, Black's done a good job just kind of being patient, getting the king out in the open. But he hasn't been able to like have a knockout blow. I mean, sometimes if you just keep playing and playing and playing, maybe your opponent does get frustrated and you get an opportunity. Yeah, rook f2, only move, stay in it. I don't know, I'm still not counting white out. Time-wise, I mean, they're both doing okay. It only starts getting serious when you get below, like, I don't know, 3 minutes. And then, of course, there's still increment. All right, we'll keep this one up. Actually, really good to see Black taking their time here. And White as well. One of the few games where players are taking their time. Crab is the best. Well, he was the best in that game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's up to you guys in the end, but you know, your games, they probably shouldn't be finishing within the first 10 minutes. I mean, use it just as a real in-person tournament game. Take it seriously and take your time. That's going to be the best practice. Don't fall into the mistake of thinking, well, as soon as the real tournaments are back, I'm going to sit down and focus. Because I mean, how you practice is how you're going to play. And you're not necessarily going to make that switch to seriousness. Instead, you just always have to play being serious. Yeah, so this game was Scotch opening, which is a knight f3 and d4. This one's kind of making a comeback as well. It fell out of popularity, and then Kasparov brought it back, and it fell out of popularity again, but I think it's making a return. All right, this is one of the main variations, so don't get checkmated. Yeah, no, it looks like this game should be really good. All these players have never played, but yeah, really excited for that one. All right, check back in here. So rook b2 was the choice. Yep, attacking the pinned piece. So a piece is pinned if it can't move because it would put your king in check. So a great strategy is to just attack that piece because it can't move away. White goes queen d4 to defend. And now black has to decide, do I really want to go into these trades with and then have a rook against a bishop and a pawn? Well, that's where it comes down to these judgments. I mean, you can't really calculate that position out, so you have to just decide, is it enough to win? Yeah, h4 is a good move. King has to go back. Obviously, you can't take, lose the rook. So I'm guessing black is deciding whether to take here or not. Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty impressed by both players, taking their time, white being resilient even after black got the better of them in the opening. Was this another King's Indian thingy? Oh, this was the Dutch. Okay. Man, I just wonder who's teaching their players to play the Dutch. I just have never seen it really. Okay. Pawn continues the march. And then white played the English, is that right? Yeah, I guess it's cool now that all this stuff is online. You can watch the top players play online. You can watch videos. You're exposed to just all kinds of different openings. It used to be just like you go to like nationals and everyone's going e4, e5, Italian games, fried liver games, and now it's just all kinds of stuff. All right, so white still can't take the pawn for the reason we said, the rook hangs. So black's been able to basically move the pawn here to here. It advances it, but it's also more vulnerable. Oh, but then there's that, of course. No, that was really nice. Calculated that out. Yeah, this move was not on my radar. I was just thinking general terms, but yeah, looks pretty strong. Yeah, I mean white's gonna have to lose material regardless. So and yeah, that should do it. So yeah, really great game by both players. Good job, guys. Now let's see, we're back in the combined section. Well, I don't know. Trying to see if there's any like end games. Yes, Sarif Skanda, really good player. Oh, Buddy Ram is back. Okay, so even white has 3-on-2 on the king side, black has 3-on-2 pawns on the queen side. So even though it's even, I highly doubt it's going to be a draw. It doesn't even necessarily come down to who's the better endgame player. It's mostly about just who takes their time and who understands that just because it's an endgame doesn't mean it's simple. Often endgames are even trickier, even down to like king and pawn endings. Man, you can really go down the rabbit hole in those endgames. With king and pawn endings, everything is precise. There's no such thing as like a slightly better king and pawn ending for white or whatever. It's like Either it's a win or a loss or a draw. And just some of the things that can happen are just so crazy. You guys could check out, yeah, it was really heartbreaking loss for Sam Shanklin in the recent Sinquefield Cup. He let his opponent, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, the French player, trade into a king and pawn ending that Sam, I guess, thought was still drawn, but it ended up being losing. But not easy. There were some just really complicated variations. So we have another trade. Yeah, I mean, looks reasonable. So white, I guess, is slightly better in this one because their rook's more active. I think black's okay, though. I mean, everything is guarded. And especially in endgames, be careful about pushing your pawns. Every pawn pushed makes it a little harder to protect your pawn because it's closer to the enemy side. So yeah, I wasn't sure about a4 because it kind of just pushes the knight to a better square. Maybe he didn't want the knight protecting c7 anymore, but I mean, the rook can always do that, so not sure. And now the pawn's a little more out there. I don't know. It's one I want to kind of keep an eye on. But I'm almost 100% someone's going to win this game. I don't know who it'll be, though. Another equal end game. Oh, so nice. Lichess just calculates it for me. Yeah, this one advantage to black. More active bishop, doing a good job stopping the white pawns. And black has a very doubly protected pass pawn. No pawns in its way. And yeah, white has the potential 2-on-1, but they can't get this push in. Still looks pretty equal though. I mean, black just has that slight advantage. Also, this is an isolated pawn. There's no friendly pawns on either side of it, hence it's isolated. And that means it can be weak because it can't be guarded by other pawns. White will have to use some of their resources to guard it. Actually, they'd have to use like a rook because the bishop's on a different color than the pawn. Wow, you know why this bishop's so good and this one stinks? Is because white's pawns are all on dark squares, so they're doing nothing to hinder this bishop. Where black's pawns are, except for one, on white squares, and they're really blocking the bishop. I remember I was thinking at first, well, but if they're all on the same color squares as the bishop, it does give the bishop targets, which is true. But as long as those pawns can be protected, which looks like they can be without too much trouble, the pawns do block the bishop from doing much. Like it can't go there. I mean, when the bishop was back here, like nothing was happening here. So, yeah. All right, another one that I will make a prediction 100%. It will not be a draw despite close equality. Oh, we got another one. All right, slight advantage to black. Reason being, white has two isolated pawns. All right, so we have three end games to kind of take a look at. Yeah, endgame is just a good marker of, who really wants to win. Is it good enough for someone just to get into the end game and then they start just kind of blitzing, thinking it's simple? Or do they really put in an effort a whole game? And that's what you want to see. Looks like Will's game hasn't changed too much. I want to go back to K12. Oh, they're going to start in a minute. Okay. We'll go back in a minute then. Yeah, I knew this rook was going to plop here. And white has a pig. It's going to pig out on all the pawns still on their home squares. So we'll call this game the bad bishop game. Oops. This one is the pig game. And the third one, just to kind of differentiate these, the isolated pawn game. Yeah, already the queen's starting to make trouble. I have a student who called this the queen pig. It's like the queen is now the pig attacking the pawns. But usually when people say pig, it means a rook. Okay, everything's guarded for now. So what's the plan? So white may try to use their 4-on-3 majority over here to try to get a pass pawn. And black is going to target these pass guys the isolated pawns, while making sure white doesn't make that strong pass pawn. All right, we got some trades in the pig game. Yeah, not sure who the trades benefits. Probably just kind of. Oh, the pig comes back. Ooh, now it's gonna be fun. So, knight endings are similar to pawn endings, king and pawn endings. So, wow. This just drives me nuts. So it's like the players immediately just start blitzing, and oops, black drops a pawn. I mean, I hate to be harsh. I know it's tough to be a player, but I mean, I've just seen it happen so many times. Oh, black was doing so good. I mean, I think black has the better endgame because these three pawns against the two, they're farther away from white's king. So that gives him a slight advantage, where at least if white gets their 3-on-2 pawns, if they get it going, at least the king is right here to help stop the pawns. I just played b6 or something. Oh, you just love to see it. I'm just gonna play as fast as I can. Yeah, I mean, another pawn had to fall, right? Because this was a threat. Oh my goodness, a complete just change in position. Black's still alive, but just you hate to see it. You hate to see it. I mean, white's blitzing too. Like, gotta give some of the blame to them also. Oh, I hear a bunch of moves being made in bad bishop game. Ooh. Ooh, and then G5 was a killer move. B5, and then bam. Oh, all right. So black's gonna win in unseeked spy against for G5803. Oh, now everybody's blitzing. Oh man. All I hear are moves. All right. This one's looking pretty good for black, but still within the realm of equal. All right. Who knows how we got here? White's up 2 pawns, but there are hopes to defend, especially if white just moves as fast as possible. I don't know, man. I guess as soon as I saw like one of these king and pawn endings where it's like pages of analysis and like all these crazy traps, that's when I knew like openings are just crazy complicated and you should take your time. Ah, man, I should show y'all. Here's a good one. Not king and pawn, but practical rook endings by Korchnoi. Swear there's like one page, it's like just like no word, it's just like analysis. I don't know. But this is like one ending. I don't know if y'all can see. I mean, it's just crazy complicated. So my point is just like, for the love of chess, please slow down. Play the end game. Oh, I just can't. All right. So we have two of our three equal end games have ended in wins for somebody or will end in wins. So this one, material is still equal. And black did have an advantage. Maybe they should have, I don't know. But actually, white looks okay now. This might, actually, I mean, it could change. Both kings look pretty active rooks for both sides. So yeah, this is really good. I swear, if they start blitzing though, I may just have to leave. It's just gonna drive me crazy. All right, we'll keep this game up. Want to check out K12? Oh, I was like, only 4 games left, and then I remembered that's the max games we have in this section. So let's check out the openings. So, all right. Black's up a queen. Yeah. Discovered attack. All right. It's the other game between the two undefeateds. All right, check out the opening. All right, got Sicilian defense. So white chooses a pretty quiet way to play against it. The main line is you go knight f3 and then d4. That's called the open Sicilian. And there's been books for hundreds of years written about that opening. Yeah, I mean, I don't think black really has any problems here. Nice bishop. So looks pretty equal. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. But, it's tough to be the player. I mean, especially like, I don't know. I just seen sometimes parents get frustrated with their kids where it's like they're looking at the game with a coach or with a friend or whoever, and the parents like, well, why didn't you see that? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, it's just, it's really just tough being a player. And, just because the coach sees it right away, doesn't mean it's a simple move. During the tournament, just try to support the player. Don't worry too much about moves. And then after you get home and it's been a few days, you can kind of talk more about what happened in the games. Because immediately after a tough game or like a blunder, the player doesn't want to talk about it. They just, give them the facts and then just move on. Like if one of my students was playing like the end game like we just saw, where they're just blitzing it out and completely blowing it, I wouldn't put it to them like that right after the game. I just feel like you need to slow down and leave it at that. But, maybe a week or so after, Yeah, you can be a little bit harsher and just be like, that's not how you're supposed to do it. And, you know, go more into it. So we have queen and rook endgame here. Black's gonna be up. Checkmate. So yeah, this is like a perfect example. I'm being way harsher than I would ever be in person. Like, I'm sure white is really upset, and this is a strong player. I mean, being like, well, how could you do this? I mean, that's not helping anybody. Just be like, you got to slow down, ask yourself what your opponent's doing. And then maybe a couple weeks after, I'd be like, what is this? All right, tough game, guys. Good win for Simon to kind of bounce back from losing. Yeah, and this guy, Simon Mango, is pretty good. Oh, looks like white's got the better in this one. Yep. Okay. Oh, people. Yeah. Another discovered attack that just wins the queen. Okay. I mean, what do I dare go back to the end game? We're back. So materials equal still. Both kings very active. Both rooks look pretty good. But yeah, if it takes me this long, you can just grasp the basics. I don't see how anyone could come up with a move here. So yeah, h4 is a move, but so was take, so was this, so was check. I mean, so was this. There's all kinds of moves here. I'm not sure h4 is the best. Maybe it is, but wouldn't you want to be sure? And now same for white. There's a ton of moves to consider. Do you keep advancing with the king? Do you check? Do you go behind this pawn? What do you do? I mean, I guess this is the obvious move. Defends the pawn through the x-ray, but then the king could take that. So you got to think about that. Yeah, I mean, this move looked pretty good to me because even though both pawns are hanging, you get this one. But I don't know if that was the best move. I would think about it. Oh, I can tell this is going to drive me crazy. So white should be fine here. And now, chances have shifted for white. Oh boy, this is one of my favorite decisions. Do you go into the pawn ending or do you keep the rooks? Let's see what black does. 90% of the time, I see players make the wrong decision here. All right, that's a good choice. If you go into the pawn ending, you immediately lose because the king is right there. He's just going to gobble the pawns. I mean, possible there could have been a draw, but so much easier just to keep the rook on the board. And probably black should be okay too. But even though black's up a pawn, because the king and the rook are so much closer, white, I think, has the advantage. Maybe. Okay. We have like a nice think here by black. It's good. Rook d6 check. Okay. We'll go back in a second because I want to comment on something, but let's just see how things progress the next few moves. Good. Black brings the king back. Rook's there. Yeah, I guess it's okay. I mean, I was worried about like rook down, and it's kind of hard to protect. I thought king e6 doesn't quite make sense to me. Thought maybe check here, tie everybody down to this, and then go. I don't know. That made more sense to me, but all right, we should stick with the game. This actually looks, yeah, kind of similar anyway, but you do leave yourself open, but I don't know if that's a big deal. So rook is now tied down to protect. Maybe the black king is just close enough to kind of hold everybody steady. Almost certainly not a draw, though. Don't worry. Black doing a good job, though, slowing down and taking their time. I mean, how do you give yourself the chance to find the best move if you don't take your time? Even at the highest levels, we see players just move too fast. It's kind of what happened to Sam Shanklin. I mean, King E7 played it pretty quickly, just kind of assuming the king and pawn ending was drawn or okay for him. And it was only afterwards he started spending time, but by then it was just too late. Yeah, so the king starts to come closer. So the plan for white is to use their active king to go after these pawns. Kind of the same plan for black, because the king seemed to get over here pretty quickly. So the rooks are just kind of in a standoff over this pawn. And it's really the kings that are the center of the action. So black's up a pawn, so the loss of this one isn't catastrophic. And now once the rook has moved, black's rook doesn't have to defend the c pawn anymore. So it still looks pretty equal to me. You know, often it's not so much the number of pawns you have, but the activity of your rooks, most importantly, and also of your kings. So black's got to be happy about this. Now he does have a passed pawn, though it's still on its starting square. So I think advantage to black now. Yeah, I think white, well, looked like a nice maneuver, but maybe they should have kept the rook here, tried to bring the king closer. I think they lost some time. Yeah, I mean, this king was on g2 just a moment ago. So they must have lost some time. Yeah, I mean, this looks just super safe. You got everybody protecting each other. Yeah. And now black's king's actually in perfect position to help its passed pawn. Still think white can put up a defense, but it's definitely harder. Yep. Yeah, was c4 too hasty? I mean, actually, it looked really good, but then I was like, oops, a3 kind of looks good. Wow, maybe c4 was too hasty. Though to be fair, I actually didn't even like really see a3. I mean, it's kind of obvious though. Forcing move, attacks the rook, which defends the pawn. And unfortunately, we kind of see what happens when you play too quickly. It's like then you start thinking on the next move, but it's too late. So yeah, once that pawn falls, now advantage turns back to white. So it really just shows you how much of a seesaw these games can be. It's like white's better, then black's better, then white's better, and black's better. Just crazy. Well, I don't want to let these guys dominate. All right, we'll come back. Yeah, this game was always close. Yeah, this game was the one that was like close. Wait, what? So they were sort of forced to sack, but it ended up being kind of interesting. Sacrifice. I mean, maybe the whole thing was planned. So black is up a rook for bishop, but white has tons of comp. Two pawns also, so it's not even like a material advantage. Well, three pawns. Back to two pawns. So material is actually like equal. Oh, this is a great game. All right, yeah, this was what I was afraid of missing. Okay. Rooks are terrible blockaders. So I would say advantage to black. I mean, sorry, to white. Beautiful pawn. Bishop guards it. But I think it's going to come down to just calculation. I mean, can white get the rook away in time? And can black get their knight back to help stop this pawn? That's kind of the key question. So when you analyze a position, you can start in terms of general ideas like, oh, I need to go get the pawn. Oh, um, I need to help my passed pawn or whatever. But then you have to start looking at moves. Yeah, I mean, white's idea is pretty obvious. You're going to try to kick the rook with your knight, and then boom, and then the bishop's going to attack the queening square, and that's it. Okay, so black offers a trade of knights. Yeah, now this is like a good decision because you also guard that square and that square. So then your rook is safe. So even if white declines the trade by going here, they still can't go to c6 to attack your rook. Just going to check back in our endgame. All right. Oh, he did trade knights. Yeah, that seems to make sense because there was nothing more you could really do with your knight. So I think white is at least a draw, possibly a win. I'm really curious if white had planned that whole sack out, or they were kind of forced to sack on e6 after their bishop got trapped. So the bishop can't help the pawn advance on its own. The key is, can the king get it behind over here quick to help out? Or does black have enough counterplay with the rook? Well, I guess not really. I mean, you really have to keep an eye on this pawn. Not sure why he went there. Seems to make now the two pawns are unprotected. And now you can't really like hide. I don't know. Check back an iron game. Well, maybe this one will be the draw. We'll see. All right. Ooh, yeah, white is in some scary territory. Because now you're just letting black get a free pass with their king. I mean, maybe black can't really do much, but thought white had winning chances. And now it looks like they can't really make any progress. So, I mean, I thought the plan is maybe bring the king. So when you have, let's do this, you have your king here, come there with the bishop, and then you have a kind of a shield to then bring the king over here. And I don't think black has enough time to really make counterplay. I mean, the king can come up, but as soon as it crosses the e file, my king will cross the e file. Oh, black also has to spend a tempo on the pawn, so yeah. Oh, black offered a draw. Yeah, but good for white for declining it, because I don't think white's in danger. So now the problem is pawn is harder to protect. Yeah, just like when the pawn was back here. Seemed easier to protect the pawn here than the pawn here. Because when it's on G2, there's always this possibility potentially to protect the pawn. Okay, so, I mean, you also have this pawn. Yeah, it kind of becomes like the bishop and the rook are just kind of protecting everything. Bishop protects its pawns, the rook stops that. So it kind of comes down to the kings. Can the kings break through? By the way, just a cool variation. This looked pretty tempting to do that, but there's just no time because a7, bring the thing back, and then bishop e4. Can't take the bishop because then queens, and then the bishop guards the queening square. So if rook e3, then a3, rook e8, bishop e4 wins for white. Wait, what? Bishop c4? Oh no. No, I was like, boom. Yeah, this looked a little annoying. All right, now, yeah, this is just the one thing I was afraid could happen. Oh, now I think white is a little bit flustered. They're just not sure what to do. Giving black too much. Yeah, it just gives black time. I mean, what does C3 really accomplish? Still think white should be okay, but yeah, they didn't really do any favors. Yeah, boom. See, even if white had spent a tempo coming this way, now you could go here to protect the pawn. Now, I mean, you're going to have to protect the pawn with the bishop. Lose that guy. Okay. Another seesaw. So now advantage goes to black, and I don't think black can lose. Let's go back to this endgame. Yeah, I think both players are trying pretty hard, but wow, we might actually have a draw. Crazy. Oh, there's a lot happening here. All right, just what we said. All right, I think we're about to see a draw here, but who knows? All right, we'll go back. Okay, so see now white offered the draw and black's like, well, not yet. Maybe. Yeah, the thing is the king can just sit here. So now, all right, so the king is kind of, well, the king doesn't even have to be here because the pawn is still pretty far back. So the king is here. I'm trying to figure out this. Ugh, man, these headphones always falling out of my ears, especially during like classes. Yeah, so h5. So now black has a pass pawn. This actually looks equal. Oh, are you serious? So what are these players doing? I don't get it. Like this is just a draw. Okay, I heard someone capture. Thank you. All right. Good game, guys. I was proven wrong. One of the three was a draw. Crazy game. But yeah, you guys should check out that end game. Really cool game. All right, here we are in the K-12 section. So C5 was played. Well, I mean, now Bishop can no longer protect that pawn. I don't know. He's going for the win here. All right, C5 is played. I mean, King E4 just looked a lot safer, or King E5. Actually, yeah, King E5. Yes, that's fine. Surprised he didn't just go for G4, discovered check, King E4, G3. Oh yeah, and then thresh G2, so you have to go here, then Rook G5. So we'd have a king here, work on G5. Oh, then Bishop G4? No, then G2. Ugh. All right, black may have missed a chance, but okay, this looks okay, because now you're cutting the king off from the pawn. Okay. Yeah, that should be okay. I don't know if it's enough to win. Yeah, I think black should have just gone G4. And white never should have allowed that. Well, could be headed for another draw. Let's find out. Ooh, yeah, no. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. It was that simple? I guess the bishop should have stayed there. Wait, what is happening? Wait, if white just like, what the heck? Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. But yeah, as soon as G4 comes in, it's just over. Wow. What a what a turnaround. But you know what? I still give White credit for declining the draw and going for the win because that was the right choice. And now you're going to learn from this game. And if you just taken the draw, you wouldn't have learned anything. All right, next round in 5 minutes. Ooh. All right, so White's up and working this one, so this is the only good one. Wow. Um, so bishop for 3 pawns in an endgame, but this pawn is so close to queenie that I think White's winning. Yeah, because I mean these pawns are just kind of inert there, and this pawn is still too far. Yeah, if this D pawn was like back here, I think black would be okay, but all right. This looks winning for white. Okay, but white is low on time. Not too low, but sort of low. See, even with 3 minutes though, he's like thinking, which is really good. Right? We've seen players with 23 minutes who are just blitzing. So it's really nice to see this. So Will's trying to bring his king closer to the pawn to help stop it. See if it'll come in time. And of course, black had to prevent checkmate as well. So yeah, check. King e7, d6 check. King e6. Yeah, check. Okay. Yeah, I was calculating this as well. Definitely one of my choices as well. King d7. Check. King c7. Wow, I mean, so many ways white can go. They don't have to push the pawn through. Hmm. So I don't think black can win. That doesn't seem realistic. I think it's either gonna be white wins or draw. Black can somehow like trade pieces and get a draw. Yeah, white just decides to take. Definitely a candidate. Will checks, defends his pawn, but now his rook has to keep moving. Yeah, I like having the rook on that pawn. Because I thought bishop a5 could be really strong. But now you can just take, so it's not as good. bishop a5 threatened d7. In fact, yeah, it's in this position. I guess maybe there's rook d4. I thought bishop a5 was a good try. You can always go back to c7. Oh, okay. Here, cutting the king off so he can't move in. So Will's putting up a good defense, but yeah, now bishop e6. Yeah, the pawn just too slow. Yeah, I mean, rook g4. Only move. But it's over. Yeah, really great game. Love to see how this one progressed. Yeah, I would just take a look at that one. All right. Ooh. I don't know. Maybe this is some super trendy line, but this looks not good for black. Actually, wait a sec. Wait, hold up. I don't want to say anything just yet, but there's a funny thing that I think could have happened. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, all right, let's just wait a second. Well, I'll say this. I'm pretty sure e5 is a bad move. Even if it is like a real opening. Because you're leaving a big hole on d5. You're not developing. I mean, white has 3 pieces out. Black doesn't have any. Then a6 is asking for it. Oh, man. Now there's something I want to say, but I'll just wait one more move. Okay. Actually, I'm pretty sure even here, well, it might not work here, but anyway, I think, yeah, isn't this just the Greek, or not the Greek, Legal? You just take. The point is, if they take your queen, you get black and checkmate. I'm pretty sure. So knight takes e5. If bishop takes queen, bishop takes f7 check, king e7, knight d5 is checkmate. That's known as Legal's mate. And after knight takes e5, if you take with the pawn, Well, that's the lesser evil, but black or white gets the piece back with queen takes g4, and white's just up a pawn. So white missed that opportunity. But yeah, this, all right. Yeah, black should take another look at this opening. This looks like an unmitigated disaster. I say it with love, but still. See, it happens. Okay, so this one and Journey to Somewhere are tied for first. No, Danish. Oh my God. Smith Moore Gambit. Oh, this looks pretty drawish. Usually white takes this way. So white is an isolated pawn, but it's not really the end of the world. Yeah. Don't be like all those guys you took. Looks like black's winning a pawn, but then bishop takes h7, discovered attack. Seen a couple of those today. Yeah, it's actually pretty fascinating. If there were queens on the board, I'd really like white's position because there's a lot of potential to attack. Oh, 1 second. There. Without the queens, though, white doesn't have quite the same dynamic potential. But everybody has active pieces. Always makes me happy. Black's a little more passive, but they can be happy about the end game because white has the isolated pawn. So yeah, I think we're set up for a really good game here. That game will probably take some time to develop. Another King's Indian defense. Looks pretty equal. Another Dutch defense. I'm just so fascinated by this. Oh, black plays a different variation? Oh no, man. I just think, if you're a kid, even if you're a strong kid like these guys are, you should still be playing like open games. I mean, these positions are just so tough. And then the thing with playing a closed position is it always has the potential to become open. And if you're not familiar with open games and the kind of positions that develop once the center opens, then you're not going to understand when to open the position in a closed game. You got to learn to play open positions first because any closed position can become open. But the would that be the converse is not necessarily true, where an open position can't really become closed. I mean, God, what is happening here? I don't know. Looks okay. I mean, we got some nice knights, I guess. Nice dark squares. The bishop does have this sort of raging diagonal open. I don't know. I just think white's position is a lot easier to play. Yeah, actually, I'm really loving this bishop. How did? Oh, so he voluntarily took here to win a pawn. That just looked super risky. Yeah, now this guy's kind of a stinker. Yeah, it's just tough, but you know, do what you want, I guess. Despite a bad opening, black is up a piece. Oh, I guess you missed that. Okay. Yeah, no, but white, you had a great opening. You had that knight takes e5 opportunity earlier. All right, so when you have an isolated pawn, one of the best things you can do is push the pawn. That really unleashes a lot of your pieces, like the rook, like the bishop, the knight's ready to come here. So pushing the pawn is a big idea in these kind of positions. And yeah, it looks like a pretty good move. Not sure how white could have really prepared it more. So if there's nothing more you can do, you can just go ahead and push it. Cool. And we're kind of headed into just yeah, interesting. I still say the middle game. You know, a queenless middle game. By the way, guys, at 4 o'clock, we'll see round, I think it's round 5 of the Sinkfeld Cup in St. Louis. You guys can watch it right on Lichess. Really great games. I think the last couple days, all the games except like 2 have been decisive. So it's always fun. And actually, if you guys are any Najdorf players out there, should check out the MVL game from yesterday when, I mean, he entered a really risky variation, but yeah, he did not make the Najdorf look attractive at all, I have to say. Okay, yeah, so white traded. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess he didn't have to trade, but it looks like it makes sense. So now open file here, open file here. The knight does look a little silly on the corner. I mean, yeah, it still is equal. I think white has slightly more active pieces, so maybe white's a little bit better, but it's basically equal, I think. All right, we'll check back in with these guys. Okay, so a lot of players still undefeated. Let's see, no, Will likes Queen's Gambit. Oh, C5. Yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend this for black because white just gets a big lead in development. Yeah, already it's looking like just really, really bad. Yeah, bishop c5 just hung a piece. Seen some uncharacteristic blunders today. Not sure why. All right, got Caro-Kann defense. Similar to the French. So the French is when you go e6 and then d5. Caro-Kann's c6 and d5. Yeah, h4 is pretty popular. So white's being, wait, what? Hold on. Maybe h6 is a mistake because of this pawn sack. I think that's like a thematic pawn sack. Yeah, this is kind of a weird position. But black's just like, black's up a couple pawns, but I mean, they're not the best. So this is board 1. Yeah, see how black's playing this? Just d4. You're just gonna go d5, e6. You know, get everybody castled. This is just a lot simpler than the King's Indian defense or the Dutch defense. So I like to actually on the third move, go c5. But you can also just do that later. Yeah, I think black is a good game. You know what? Maybe f5. I don't know. Black should be okay though. Let's see. But yeah, man, this probably should have been prevented. I mean, I get you don't want to go here, give up the e5 square, but there is a knight there for the moment. And actually, this is a little bit unpleasant. Yeah, we'll see. All right, going back to K12, our queenless middle game. What has transpired? Yeah, you can just tell white's just a little bit more active. Yeah, it was like e5 probably should be played. And then he went back here. Interesting. Just to defend his pawn. Is that the only move? Yeah, so I think black's okay. Cool. So these games should be pretty fun to watch. See, yeah, I mean, both players have tons of time, so. Let's see what. Yeah, maybe black's a little hasty to trade. So now you got the knight, you got bishop coming in. I mean, I get he gets this square. I don't know. It's hard to say. Oh, we have an offer of another trade. Yeah, I mean, it looks like white blundered a piece due to the skewer. I think he's looking. No, but there's that. Yeah, okay. So the question is, should he have traded? I mean, who knows? I don't know. I mean, if your opponent has more activity, it makes sense to trade, but they'll still have activity and you have one less piece to defend. So I don't know. Actually, I kind of like this though. Rook d8 looks like a better move than trading because you still trade, but now your rook is nice. Yeah, bishop. So this looks pretty equal. But white could have. Yeah, I don't know. Probably something better here. Now, looks like black should be pretty happy. I don't know what to do though instead of. Yeah, tough position. Have to look at it more. I don't know, man. A lot of tough positions. All right. At least this one, White's trying to make some trouble, even though Black's still up a piece. Hmm. See what White does here. How would you continue this attack? Kind of the question. Oh, so many options. This is why my dad really doesn't like playing chess. Just like, ugh. Sometimes it's just so hard to pick a move. I mean, does White go for the check? Do they try to get the king more than a net first? Do they bring the queen around? I mean, it's like, what do you do? I was always a very slow player. So, oh, what just happened? Okay, so black. Oh no, sorry, White moved. Yeah, h5 to kind of squeeze that net, take away this square from the king. Yeah, the problem is now g6, and you can't check on h8 anymore. I thought it'd make more sense to do the check while you can, king up, and then maybe try like bringing the queen back and trying to catch the king. Just an idea. So I think black should have played g6 here just to stop that possibility. All right, going back to this game. This is top game in the combined. Ooh, this looks really unpleasant for White. Pin knight. Black has these beautiful bishops. Yikes. And then this one. So after bishop f6, bishop c7 is played. Okay. Yeah, very bizarre looking position. Still looks pretty equal. You know, both sides have threats, which is always kind of a fun position. Yeah, I mean, you know, equal doesn't mean drawn. I mean, it could just mean both sides have equal chances to win. Rook d2, definitely one of my top candidates. So I don't know, bishop c7, maybe just a little bit of hope chess. You maybe hoping your opponent's gonna, you know, do things like this or something. But yeah, rook d2. Now this whole lineup looks a little weird. So yeah, okay, bishop b7. All right, feels like initiative shifting to black. Definitely happy with black's position now. Black has the pig. We know all about pigs. And these bishops are ready to, jump in. So this is top game in K12. Okay, so while Black is thinking this over, go back to combine. Okay, they haven't moved. Oh, did White get the piece back? Well, sort of. But now Black has a strong attack. It's one of the games from K12. I guess Black just kind of calculating it out. All right, let's go back here. So Black decided to take here, takes, material still equal. Okay, and it's Black's move. Yeah, I mean, what's kind of nice for Black is the rook defends this pawn as well, besides just being active on this rank. Shoots, still thinking. Yeah, Black's looking for that knockout blow here. I don't know. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. All right, as soon as Black moves here, we'll go to this game, but okay, Black to move. Even in a good position, you still have to find a move. Yeah, bishop d4. Kind of a no-brainer there. Just put more pressure here. All right, what did Black do? So Black took here. Yeah, I think, multiple ways to win. And then rook e1. All right, so yeah, so Black holds on to win in this game. Anything else happening? Wow, just so much. So what did Black do in this one? He went bishop e4, queen there. And that's where we are. In this game, bishop e5 is played. Wow. A lot of stuff hanging, a lot of threats hanging. Try to figure out what you would do as Black. Good training is have a book of like annotated games by top players, where they talk about their moves and stuff. And, play through the game first without looking at the notes and try to guess the moves or figure out what's going on, and then compare your ideas to the notes and see if you are on the right track. So you can kind of do that here. Try to think what should Black do, and we'll compare it to what happens in the game. Tactics time, right? Okay, so all right, so he took. So okay, can't take. Getting mated. Assume black. Figure that out. Yeah, you don't have time to just move a pawn or whatever because this is attacked, and there's also like a sort of a pin situation here. So he takes. I mean, this looks tempting, but then you get mated, so he has to go there. And now rook c2. Yep, this is what I calculated, and I think that stops the loss of material. I mean, it still could be good for white though, but hopefully you guys got this far. Not super difficult. And yeah, so we'll come back. Looks like still even here. Oh, let's see. What do they do? Yeah. So rook takes. So white picks up this pawn at the end. So I still think it's a net gain for white. Even material, but white is the outside pass pawn. So that should give white an advantage. Cool. Double bishop endgame. Don't see those that much. Yeah. I mean, just like any endgame, it's just about having active pieces. And I guess active king, though the king can be bothered by the bishop. So I don't know what role the kings are going to play. Looks like Jew got some trouble here, and he's doing okay. Oh, yeah, this game was pretty wild. Oh, man. White, well, what am I saying? Both sides have the double pigs, but then their minor pieces are doing a good job keeping the the pigs out of the trough. Like there's no check, can't take, but probably white has the advantage because the king is like more pushed up, I guess. Yeah, you got to counterattack, right? Because if you go here, oh no, rook can't take because of that. Okay, now I still like this. Oh, white offers a draw. Fascinating. Yeah, I'm sure black's happy with that. I think white should have gone for the win. I'm guessing black's higher rated or something. I'll put at an advantage to white. Just curious what the computer says the evaluation. Okay, so equal basically, but I think white would have pretty good winning chances. Cool. All right. So this one, black has better pawns, but white has more activity because this rook can easily invade, where this rook, the white king actually prevents invasion. So I kind of like white here, but things could change if white doesn't attack quickly. Because then the better pawn structure for black is going to be good for black. Oh, shoot. Rook f8. Yeah, that's a move you have to consider. Okay, black's a move. What would you play? Come back. So rook g4 is played. Oops, he's dang head. Yeah, it's what I'm kind of worried about. Now, white gets tied down. I mean, It's a double pawn. Who cares? Maybe just, I don't know, be more active here. Still like white. Oh, he went bishop d8. I was looking at rook d8. Does that work? I think bishop d8 looks okay too, because this is such like a monster checkmate threat, or almost checkmate. So so he went check. Yeah, I mean, kind of like just invading, but okay, whatever. Looks okay too. I want to see what else is happening. So we're looking at it from black's. Oh, so black is close, white's far, but the king is right there. This is looking like a draw. All right, we'll go back to Jude's game. Wait, how do I? Well, whatever. All right, now we're looking at it from black's point of view. So rook c7, knight f5. Now the pawn falls. I don't think it's such a big deal. King there. It's looking a little bizarre. I think white had something better at some point. Now black looks okay because I don't know. Yeah, white's pieces are getting kicked around. Oh, we may just have like a repetition kind of. Oh wait, no, that was from a previous position. All right. A lot of good stuff. We'll try to kind of stay focused on this one. Ooh. White is giving black the chance to just enter this end game. White's 2 pawns down. Yeah. So, yeah, white. I don't know. I think you should have played rook d7 just earlier, because now you give black this time, and black just gobbles some pawns, and black's just better. Black declines the end game. Yeah, maybe he's worried. The king is so close to the pawns. So maybe it is kind of easier just to leave the rooks on. So the bishop against the knight matchup should favor the bishop because there's pawns on both sides of the board, and the bishop is much faster than the knight. So we can kind of help on both sides. If the pawns were only on one part of the board, then the knight's okay because it's short range and it can help over on one side. Harder if pawns are on both sides. So everything's kind of benefiting black here. I think black has great chances. At least white is the active king, though. But it's like, how exactly do you make a threat with the king? Yeah, overall, pretty good chess today. Yeah, people still playing the end game way too fast. Some things don't change and probably won't ever change. Some weird blunders, maybe just rustiness or just a moment of inattention, who knows? Yeah, but seeing a lot of like resourcefulness, interesting opening choices. So, been pretty entertaining day. Usually talk a lot about E4, E5 openings, and hasn't really been the case. Like, what was this one? D4? Yeah. So, oh, seen a couple of discovered attacks. So, I mean, Lichess has a nice feature. You can, yeah, just do puzzles. I think they're organized by themes and stuff. And they're also taken from actual games played on the site, which is kind of cool. Just seeing some new games with just common themes. So I don't know, maybe White is, yeah, getting some counterplay. So when you're doing puzzles, like a good rule of thumb, um, a puzzle that's like at your optimum level should take you maybe 10 minutes to solve. So not right away, but I mean, you don't want to spend like an hour on one puzzle. That's not very efficient. So 10 minutes is about good. And if you still can't figure it out, just look at the answer. And you build up um your knowledge of different patterns. Yeah, knight f5, then attacking g7 was pretty annoying. So knight e8. Black getting low on time is also, I'm sure, a happy thing for white to see. Though 8 minutes is still a ton of time. Yeah, that's nice. Just check. Gotta retreat, take the pawn with check. Pretty obvious. I don't think I'm giving anything away. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, white's just kind of getting desperate here. Yeah, I think Will's got some good thoughts on the position. Just looking at the spectator room. Yeah. I mean, now it's up to 3 pawns, so it's not very fun. Okay, he doesn't even bother to defend it and just goes right here. Yeah, interesting. If you go bishop f7, then knight d6, and the bishop has to move, then you can just come back to E8. So that could have been kind of weird. Yeah, just looks really good for black. I mean, get 2 passed pawns. White is tied down to this pawn. Only thing white can try to do is make some counterplay against the king, but that's looking more and more like a pipe dream. All right, any games still left? Oh, someone's gonna have to mate with a. Wait, this game. Isn't this just a draw? Wait. White must have let something bad happen. Yeah, probably white should have gone here at some point. Oh, I would have forced him to mate with the king and rook. Not everybody knows how to do it. Alana tells that funny story of her student who's like 1300 who just didn't remember how to do it and couldn't win with the king and a rook. Yeah, it still got some cool games, but this one's pretty compelling. I think it might end pretty soon. Like either white has something or black just quickly wins. So we're going to just end the stream in a moment, but it will hopefully see the conclusion of this game. Actually, by the way, is happening with K12. Yeah, well, we set up for a pretty fun finish because the draw opened up other players possibly tying for first. And especially if these two guys draw again or lose, someone else could leapfrog them. Yeah, this game was crazy. Wow, this is a fun one to watch. I don't know. Each side's gonna have passed pawns. Ugh, I don't want to get too into that. I'll go down the rabbit hole there. Who knows if we'll get out? But yeah, it looks like Black's Kings actually joined the fun. And I think it's going to be over pretty quickly. So Black's turn. Yep. Yeah, no, well played. Well played by Black. I did like White, but if you miss your chance sometimes, then initiative passes to the other person. Yeah, good game, guys. All right, cool. Well, like I said before, lots of good chess today. And about an hour and a half, you guys can also check out the top players in the world playing in St. Louis. The games are streaming on Lichess. Yeah. So I'll hopefully see you guys at a future tournament soon. So thanks for coming. Good luck in the last round, and bye, everybody.